with Hank on chapter 13. Same characters, Hank, Ashley, Frankie, Miss Adolf, Nick the Tick, and Emily and Robert. Emily was a big part of chapter 12. She and Hank have come up with a plan in order to get their mom and dad to the Stone Cold Rock concert in Philadelphia. They know that if they ask dad in front of mom that he might be more lenient or more wanting to go just because mom wants to go, because we know that if mom ain't happy, nobody's happy. So we are on chapter 13. My dad was setting the table while my mom was putting the finishing touches on dinner. When I walked into the dining room, I noticed that she was putting out soup spoons, and for a minute I actually got excited. I hoped that maybe my mom had brought home some of Papa Pete's mushroom barley soup that we sell at our deli, the Crunchy Pickle. It is my absolute favorite soup. Rats, no such luck. Your mother created a new soup she's trying out on us tonight, my dad said. These are not the words that you want to hear in my house. My mom is always trying to create new, healthy versions of dishes Papa Pete invented when he started the Crunchy Pickle 50 years ago. But her dishes usually taste something like cow pasture mixed in with a little cardboard. Gross. Please tell me the soup doesn't have cabbage in it, I begged. One thing I've learned in my 10 3/4 years on Earth is that cooked cabbage not only tastes disgusting on its own, it makes everything around it taste disgusting too. It doesn't matter what anything else is. Even its old leather shoes, if you boil them with cabbage, they're going to taste like old leather cabbage shoes. It doesn't have cabbage in it, my dad smiled. Yes! She says it's the 3B soup, my dad said. A mixture of beets, Brussels sprouts, and bananas, all ground up together with some lima beans thrown in for texture. Yikes. Oh my gosh, cement soup? You could probably hold bricks together with it. My mom came in through the swinging door from the kitchen carrying a big bowl of the awful smelling stuff. Her blonde hair was all wild looking like it gets when she's cooking up something new, and she had a couple chunks of lima bean clinging to her pink sweater. Even though she was pretty messy, it was really pretty cute the way she looked. And she was so proud of her new invention. It must have been the way that scientist whose name I can't remember felt when he discovered penicillin in moldy old dishes. Penicillin is it's a medicine if you get sick. Soup's on, my mom called out. Everyone come and get it. Emily galloped out of her room carrying Catherine on her back like she was taking the lizard on some crazy piggyback ride. Catherine must have smelled the soup because as she got closer to the table, her nostrils got really big and she started to hiss. Oh, look, Kathy seems upset, Emily said. Maybe some nice music would calm her down. Why don't I put on a CD, I suggested, like I had just had the best idea my brain had ever come up with. That's a good idea, honey, my mom said. Emily took her place at the table with Catherine the Ugly still draped across her back. Then she looked over at me and winked. Emily, that is. Catherine isn't what you call a winker. I flashed Emily a little smile. I have to admit, the girl may be the oddball of the Western world, but for once she was really taking my side in a very, very cool sisterly way. As my mom dished the soup out into 4 bowls and put one at each of our places, I raced into my room to get the Stone Cold Rock CD. I held it behind my back as I came strolling back into the dining room. Casually strolled over to the CD player and put the CD in. I hope you didn't pick anything too loud, my dad said. Dinner music should be easy on the nerves. No problem, I answered and cranked up the volume. I could hear the disc start to whir, gaining speed. I slid into my chair and took a whiff of the soup, and I nearly passed out. Smells really interesting, Mom, I said, as I crumbled a handful of crackers into the brownish, greenish, pinkish liquid. My dad was just putting the first spoonful of soup into his mouth when the music started to play Stone Cold Rock's classic hit, Whacked Out Crazy for You. Wang dang a dingy, wop bop boo. The bass guitar belted out a thumping beat that exploded into our dining room like a bomber diving into the soup bowl. I thought my dad was going to jump out of his skin. His spoon went flying out of his hands and sailed across the table. Wang wang dang a boo bop boo. As the spoon flew over the table, the soup that had once been in it splattered all over in all directions. Little clumps of it landing on the table, on the walls, and my mom's pink sweater. It looked like it was raining brownish, greenish, pinkish mud. Thunk! The spoon landed with a thud right on the end of Catherine's hissing snout. Careful, Dad. Kathy has a very sensitive face. What about my ears? My dad yelled. They're sensitive too. The beat was great. Our whole dining area was thumping with the bass. Then the lead singer let out a wild shriek and launched into first lines of the song that are so catchy that you have to sing along. Cheerio, the dog, who had been sleeping under my dad's feet, suddenly jumped out from under the table and started to spin in a circle, howling in a high, screechy voice that made him sound like a girl dog with hot feet. I looked at my dad, and his eyes were really big, like he had just seen a ghost. But he wasn't really looking at Cheerio or even at the soup on the walls. He was staring at my mom. She had jumped out of her seat and had started to sing, and I don't mean like tra-la-la kind of singing either. She was rocking it out in a major kind of way. And she was dancing too. And I don't mean hold your partner and twirl slowly either. It was all the parts of her body were shaking, and at different times too. Because I love my mom, and I don't want to embarrass her totally in case she ever reads this, I think I'll just describe the way she looks this way. Imagine your favorite rock song. Then imagine your mom singing it at the top of her lungs. Then imagine her dancing to it with all of her heart and soul. Got that picture in your mind? Good. Now multiply that times 20. No, better yet, times 50. No, times 100. Okay, that's close to the way my mom was singing and dancing to Whacked Out Crazy for You. Let's just say it was loud and nuts and very un-mom-like. Come on, Stan, my mom giggled. Get up and dance with me. My dad didn't move. He just sat there with his mouth wide open. I could even see the silver fillings in the back of his teeth. My mom grabbed Emily and started to dance with her. To my surprise, Emily kind of got into it, shaking her bony butt in a really kind of scary way. Good old Catherine freaked out. I guess in Iguanagland, where she comes from, they don't boogie down. When Emily started to shake her butt, Catherine hung onto her back for dear life. Finally, the shaking got too much for her lizardy the self, and she dove headfirst down the back of Emily's shirt. Her back claws clutched onto Emily's shoulders, and her tail stuck straight up above Emily's head like a feather. The two of them together looked like a whacked-out version of Pocahontas doing a 21st century rain dance. As I watched my mom and Emily dancing around the room, singing the words to Stone Cold Rock's Whacked Out Crazy for You, I knew I had my dad in the palm of my hand. There was absolutely no way that he was going to say no to taking my mom to Philadelphia to see their concert. She was just having way too much fun. But you know, parents are full of surprises, aren't they? I was totally wrong about my dad. Totally, completely, absolutely, entirely wrong. Even after I told my mom all about how I won the concert, even after I played another Stone Cold Rock song, even after I gagged down all of my soup and told my mom how delicious it was, even after all that, my dad still said he didn't want to go to Philadelphia. It's silly to go all the way to another city on a weekday just to see some young men who need haircuts play instruments, he said. But Dad, they're Mom's favorite band, I argued. And here they are, holding up the CD, all packed up inside this nice shiny disc. She can listen to them right here in the comfort of her own home. Mom, aren't you going to tell them how much you want to go? Oh, honey, marriage is all about give and take, my mom said. If it makes your dad uncomfortable to go, then how much fun would it be really for me? How much fun? It would totally be fun. Hank, my mom said, I'm fine not going to the concert. Why is it so important to you anyways? Why? For once, the words are right out there in front of me. I didn't say this out loud. I just was thinking, because I want you to miss the parent-teacher conference, because I don't want you to know how bad I'm doing in school, because I want to go on to the 5th grade, because I don't want to be the only one left behind. But I didn't say any of that. Instead, I just shrugged and said, no reason. We will stop right there.